you're thinking about going to business school, getting an MBA from one of the world's top schools. How do you see yourself? Do you see yourself as a go-getter? Are you willing to put in the work for the MBA experience? And of course, looking to make lots of great new connections with an international community. Well, if that's the case, you're probably looking at IMD in Lausanne, Switzerland. The campus has the most extraordinary view of the lake. I'm sure at this time of the year, it's beautiful. And of course, both Bloomberg and Forbes have ranked the school #1 in the world. And it's my pleasure to be joined by Sandeep Tada. Sandeep has been with us at Centre Court before. He is the director of the MBA program experience at IMD. Lovely to have you back again, Sandeep.
Thanks, Matt. Thank you for the introduction. Lovely to have you as well. Yeah.
Well, it's I remember from your past that you've been with IMD now for over 10 years, but you once owned a very trendy restaurant and the OXO nightclub, and I wonder how the audiences between a nightclub and then the MBA classroom at IMD compare. What do you most enjoy in the leadership role that you have at IMD?
So yeah, it's a privilege to be in an institution like IMD for a long time, so over 10 years. In my current role, I manage a small team of 5 people, and having this leadership role is really a fulfilling experience, because I really enjoy motivating my team and working with them towards a common goal to provide an incredible learning experience to our MBAs. So it's a very purpose-driven job. I have a very motivated team, and my work also requires to put a little bit of hold on their, when they're doing too much overtime and stuff, when they're too motivated. So to make sure they have a work-life balance, because they're very passionate about their job. Yeah.
Well, I wanted to ask you with your job title, the MBA program experience. So as you think about an intense curriculum and all of the academics, but broader than that, in the 12 months that they will spend with you, what are the sort of things that you're also considering that goes into this experience?
So in addition to the learning part, you mean?
Yes.
So there are plenty, and experience is really managed when it's coming not only from the IMD and administrator side, but also from the MBA side. So of course, all the teaching, experientials, but also we have committees in the class, various committees that take initiatives on social side, sports, well-being, diversity and inclusion. We also have clubs. So for example, the consultancy club, tech club, so that they are more career focused. So really make sure that people who are interested in those domains are well prepared. So yeah, it's a holistic experience that comes from both MBAs and from us. Yeah.
Right. Well, I know that IMD students, they work hard and then they play hard, which is a big part of that. When you're talking either to candidates or perhaps even just with friends or family, how do you like to describe IMD to other people?
That's always a very good question, because I live in a small town in Switzerland, and it's always a little bit challenging to define my role and what IMD does basically to the people in a small town in Switzerland or back home in India. So for me, how I define IMD is the world leader institution in executive education. So really focusing on the top of the pyramid, but not only, because by focusing on the top of the pyramid, it has a cascade down effect. So really, IMD touches on organization culture of multiple organizations. It has a huge impact. It's a boutique institution with a small MBA class to provide a very personalized experience. And of course, we also have an EMBA degree program. So in terms of degree portfolio, we have these two, and we also have a master's in sustainability and technology that has started 2 years ago. So IMD is really boutique institution focused on industry, an MBA program, which then benefits from it, the close ties we have with the industry. Yeah.
Well, for all of my time in business education, IMD has been one of the superstar business schools of Europe and the world. Those rankings continue to confirm that. Your origins with multinationals, big pharma, of course, Switzerland, which I think ranks #1 in the Global Innovation Index. So so much going on in the country and the opportunities. So What do you see as some of the key strengths of this very boutique MBA program?
So one of the key strengths of our MBA program is we sometimes call it the longest leadership development program, because it's almost a 1 year, 11 months program. Our focus on personal development, team development is really immense. This can be defined as our key strength. Of course, to do an MBA program, you need to know business fundamentals. However, you need tools to apply those business fundamentals in the most effective way. And leadership acts as a glue to provide tools to our MBAs, the soft skills they need to not only better manage themselves as a leader, but also manage teams and organizations. Yeah.
Now, with, I guess, some of the harder skills around finance, strategy, and analytics, and everything else, you describe it as one of the longest leadership pathways. How do you balance and that sort of emphasis on personal development? You see students that arrive on day one in January, and then as they graduate 12 months later. What do you see in terms of leadership skills and the personal development journey that they've been on?
They go through an immense transformation journey in such a short period of time. And this is what makes this job so purpose-driven and so interesting, because you really see people are coming from very diverse backgrounds. So country-wise, gender diversity, their work experience, also very diverse situations, personal situations that they are coming from. And then you see they embark on this leadership journey all together, and how they grow throughout the year is quite fascinating. And there are, of course, tools to help them navigate through this journey in the best possible way. So we have focused on, of course, self-awareness. That's one of the keys. The more self-aware people are, the better it is for them to then manage their leadership strengths, because our strengths can be weaknesses in certain situations, and weaknesses can be strengths depending on the circumstances. So increased self-awareness helps them navigate that better. Also focus on experiential, group dynamics, team learning, really helps them make the most out of the experience that they're going through, because a lot of the assignments are group assignments. We also have individual assignments, so they are tested on multiple dimensions. So then they really get the tools to master not only self-leadership, but also group. Yeah.
Now, you talk about self-awareness, perhaps learning to manage yourself before you can then manage others. At IMD, it strikes me you take a step further and you provide very specific coaching. Is it with a psychologist or therapist, to really explore these themes? Tell us a little about that.
Yeah, exactly. So coaching goes in multiple dimensions at IMD. They get coached a lot. So they have individual leadership coaching, group coaching, they have career coaching, but they also have the PDE elective. So it's a personal development elective. It's basically, they get 20 sessions with psychoanalysts throughout the year. It's an elective, so people can opt not to choose it. However, the majority, chooses to do it. These 20 sessions really focuses on a deeper level. So of course, you have the tip of the iceberg, and then it goes really deep, and there's a lot to discover, and to really truly unleash your leadership potential. So, for example, in a group dynamic situations, leadership coaching will focus on the feedback. So, for example, you did this, it was helpful or not, and what impact it had on others. Then a PDE session, so the psychoanalyst session, will help you better understand why you behave in a certain way in certain situations. So it's not about your behavior and their impact, but also why. So understanding it better. And this is where I think the true development, the more holistic, development part comes of our leadership stream. Yeah.
Right. The school has one of the most comprehensive admissions approaches, and to really get to know the individuals, the sessions that you then hold with them. When you then talk with students towards the end of the program and everything that they have been through, how do they reflect back to you that self-awareness and what they now feel that they know about themselves that they just weren't aware of, perhaps at the beginning of the program?
it starts by them even not talking about it. It's how they talk, basically. The way they are more composed, more confident about themselves, more confident around people, more confident in challenging situations. How they can just step back, reflect, and see the situations from a more big picture level. One of the things that MBAs they really appreciate towards the end is how much they learn about themselves, and they often say, "Wish I knew these skills with my previous job before coming to IMD." But of course, that won't be possible because then IMD's added value won't be there. So it's really they really see the value because they have so much experience and they can relate to the situations, not only work related but also personal situations, how they could manage better with the tools IMD has given them, and also the power of networking by being in such an intense experience with such an amazing and intelligent group of people really provides them the peer learning part as well. So they really value that. Yeah, that's one of the biggest strengths. Yeah.
As they start to then think about career opportunities, they have multinationals on their doorstep and international careers in so many different sectors. Approaching that period, graduating from the program, what do you see as the key leadership skills, the things that are going to serve them well, not just in their first position after IMD, but in the years that will follow in their career?
So a few leadership skills that I can pinpoint is really the importance of resilience and persistence. It's being a secure base to your team and your organization. We especially live in a world which is ever changing. Challenges are there, so they will not disappear. So instead of hoping for them to go away, we need to adapt as leaders. And this is where the persistence and resilience really helps. The importance of empathy, even more than ever before. We live in a world where unempathetic leaders have done things that's really affecting our lives. So really how to be an empathetic leader. And empathy sometimes links to being manager being softer or weaker. That's a misconception. Empathy is all about the capability to put yourself in other people's shoes to better relate to them, to better relate to your team, what challenges they are going through, how to really help them. And the final one for me would be the open-mindedness. It's easy to say, but it's really a big word, open-mindedness to new culture, new challenges, open-mindedness to diversity and inclusion. By being open-minded, it provides, it will provide these future leaders the tools to deal with different situations without picking and selecting that I can work with this type of people or I can work in this type of situation, because nothing is in our hand and we should be able to work with all type of people and all type of situations. Yeah.
Right. And as we compare to top programs in the US at Harvard, Stanford, Wharton, other great schools, where often the average age might be sort of 27, IMD a little bit older in terms of the profile, and therefore candidates bringing more experience. Does that also then mean that the classroom discussions or the feedback that each of them is providing to one another has more depth, perhaps a little more maturity in their reflections?
Definitely. Yeah, exactly. More experiences comes with more touch points where they can relate to situations based on their past experiences, talk about it, what they could have done differently, or what they did that helped them. So really share it with their peer as well. So it's definitely a strength. And it really reinforces the peer learning part. And also the class discussion is also richer. It's not a monologue with a professor giving lecture. It becomes a dialogue where the MBAs are contributing as much, and it's really going like I like to think of it as a ping pong ball. It goes back and forth where mutual learning is taking place between the professor and the MBAs. Yeah.
Right. Many of our viewers at Centre Court, as they look at these top MBA programs, there's also this decision of the course length, 1 year versus 2 years. Now you're packing everything in to the 1 year, and candidates think, well, I'm looking for this particular role in this particular company. How does 1 year help me to make that transition. But I mean, your students do. Some of them are doing this triple jump. They're changing geographies, they're changing industry, they're changing function. So how do you manage to fit everything in and ensure that they can then explore so many different career opportunities as they come out of the school?
So again, it's a very intense experience. It's a unique experience, and this is what I tell MBAs or whomever is interested, is that there's a low probability that you will take 1 year of your life to really focus on yourself.
Mm.
So really submerge into this experience, give 100, 200% of yourself. Make sure you contract with your families and friends that you will not be as available as you would be otherwise. And really take this a step back in your career to really reinvent yourself, your new self. And it is a very, very intense program, and it's always a challenge in terms of trade-offs as a business school. What do you want to focus on, and like, where you can focus a little bit less. So it's always a challenge, and we have to also stay, in the actual reality of the world we are living in. So for example, the focus on purpose and sustainability is really key. Every single domain of business is being affected by it.
Mm.
So, you can take finance, marketing, operations, supply chain, the role of sustainability and how companies are either focusing by their own willingness or are being forced because of the objectives of the country they are doing business in. So it's really the goal is to find the good balance in terms of making sure you're ticking all the boxes of an MBA program in terms of business fundamentals, but also staying updated with what's happening in the world and where the world is going in the future. Yeah.
And with the intensity that you're describing, but the need for focus, when you welcome the new class every January, what advice do you give? Because they can join so many clubs. How do they need to prioritize their time when there are so many options available to them?
So they come with a lot of enthusiasm, and they're very excited. So it's also important to give them a more realistic picture of how the year will look like and what they can achieve in this year and how much they can achieve. The idea is not for them to try to do everything, because that's just not possible, right? So the advice we give them is really to focus on the things that they're most passionate about, and accept the fact that they will not be able to do everything, and be in peace with that. Because that's important, to also enjoy the experience without being stressed about what you're missing out, but more enjoy what you are involved in. Yeah.
Right. It's a very international, incredibly international group. The gender balance of the school, many different ways to look at diversity. How does IMD think about diversity in those dimensions, and why is it so important to you? And perhaps also, what is IMD doing to continue to encourage that pipeline of applicants from any number of underrepresented groups and ensure the different voices in the classroom?
So again, diversity has proven to be, really beneficial for the business. Diverse teams outperform homogeneous teams if they are well managed, and this is where the importance of inclusion comes in. If the diverse teams are not well managed and the culture is not inclusive, then the outcome will not be as positive as hoped. So diversity and inclusion are really important. I'm part of the diversity and inclusion committee at IMD. It's been over 2 years now, where we voice our opinions about different initiatives that needs to be taken at IMD level, how we can help our customers as well achieve their goals and be a role model for them. In the MBA class, we have diversity and inclusion committee, where also MBAs take initiative. So it really comes both ways, from institution and from the MBAs, by organizing touch points of series of various diversity and inclusion topics, organize debates, also expose them to various speakers from diverse backgrounds. So have a good balance of senior executives, both male, female, but also, in terms of racial diversity as well. And of course, having a very diverse MBA class is a privilege. We have 36 nationality for 87 MBAs. 36% female candidates. It's increasing. Our goal is to achieve 50%. And again, we can only do that by providing support, right? Especially as you said, the people from underprivileged background. How do you find talents in those areas to really have an impact? So we have few scholarships, and we are increasing the portfolio of our scholarships linked to impact. So few are, one of them is that started this year is the Packer scholarship, which focuses on primarily on female candidates that are coming from a background where their leadership journey was disrupted, either due to war or natural disaster where they were displaced to somebody else where they were living before. So it's a very purpose-driven scholarship. We also have recently, the Hilti has collaborated with IMD to provide a scholarship for people with a STEM background, so science, technology, math, and engineering background, and with the focus on those people like going back potentially to those industries in leadership roles. And it's really key for us to focus on STEM because often it's out of it's like female candidates. There are a lot of female in a STEM area. So how do you find a talented female candidate from a STEM area and then help her develop, but also other candidates from different nationalities? So by having a mix of sessions and learning opportunities for MBAs, we can help reinforce diversity inclusion and as a mindset, and also having proper support to attract talented candidates from those backgrounds. Yeah.
And with that focus on inclusion for again, viewers that are trying to imagine the personality, the culture of the business school, what do you recommend in terms of just being able to connect with like-minded individuals, people that they can identify? Is it great to talk to students and alumni? There are other events that you're then organizing, those different touch points to find out more about the school?
Sorry, there was again a cut.
Okay.
Simon.
Okay. We'll cut that one out. So with this emphasis on inclusion, as candidates are looking at business schools to find the right fit, the right personality and culture, what do you recommend to connect with students, with alumni? You're no doubt organizing a lot of different events.
Yes, exactly. So how school is doing a lot on inclusion and diversity side, but how to communicate that, right? So we do organize, seminars, sessions at IMD or in different global locations. Also, we are very open to supporting, future potential candidates to connect with the alumni to really get a sense of, what's really happening at IMD during their MBA years. And our alums tend to be very open and available to talk to future candidates. They really invest in IMD and its future. So that's great. We have a strong alumni base, a global alumni base with local clubs. They also organize events. So yeah, there are multiple channels that we can use to make sure the message is out there. Yeah.
Right. And I've always witnessed how enthusiastic they are, but also how available they are. I mean, given that they're taking on, these professional responsibilities in the next steps of their career, but they always seem to be happy to provide that, share the experience that they've had. So as the MBA itself continues to adapt, as you weave areas of sustainability and the environment into the curriculum, now we are looking increasingly at artificial intelligence and the impact in sort of the future of business. How do you see the MBA program at IMD continuing to evolve in the coming years?
Yeah, that's a question that I ask myself often. We have to stay relevant, right? And the importance of personalization when it comes to studies is there even more than before. Also, technology-mediated learning, so virtual reality, metaverse, and how that will impact the whole learning experience, but also work experience, because they are both connected. Also, the focus on experiential learning, both locally and and globally with the help of these technology-mediated platforms to really help them, get a more hands-on experience. Not only, having the theoretical part, but also having more and more practical side in terms of the application of the learning. Will be a few key development areas for the business schools, in my view. Yeah.
Right. So if I attended, my last question, if I attended a 10-year reunion of MBA students and I asked them, okay, so would you do it all again? My sense is all of them would say yes. Same question for you, Sandeep. You've been with IMD now for 10 years. And with everything that you've enjoyed and experienced at IMD, would you do it all again?
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah. I'm very passionate about my job. Still, I wake up. I'm happy to go to work every Monday. I'm excited, and then this tells a lot. And yeah, exactly. The journey was so intense. The learning is also intense when working in such an intellectually stimulated environment where you're exposed to world-class faculty, world-class MBA students, amazing colleagues. So it's really, the learning is coming from, it's a working and learning experience is how I like to define it. And it's a very purpose-driven job, to be part of the journey of, 90 to 100 global future leaders who will have an impact on, everybody's life. So it's a great job.
Yeah. Well, we always
would do it again.
to quote that we can capture that enthusiasm, that sense of purpose and belief. It was lovely to have you back for this festival. It's always a pleasure to do these interviews together. So, Sandeep, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you, Matt, for your time. Always a pleasure to talk to you as well. And hoping to talk to you again soon.